All right. And we got a few people in already. I'm excited. I'm really excited too, because I'm getting to finally, me and Zach have been talking on Instagram for almost a year. He is from Sundays for the League. How you doing, dude?
I am doing pretty good. Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Like I was telling you guys, the reason why we're late is I had to go walk the little 7 week old puppy. So that may happen again during the show. I had the puppy on Tuesday's show, but she was sleeping through. So, but I'm also really excited because Rev messaged me a few hours ago. He's like, "Hey man, I can do this," and we haven't talked in about I think since it was right before the season. And what a season it's been. I've had some personal stuff happen too, but it's been a wild season, Rev. How are you? How are you enjoying things right now?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing really well. I'm as you know, I love making NFL content and especially Packers content. What a wild year. This has been a great time to make content for football, for fantasy football. I'm loving it. And yeah, thanks for having me on. It's nice to meet you, Zach.
Nice
So
to meet
Zach
you
and
as well.
Isaac, look at that. You guys almost have the same identical like letters in your name there. So it's
I know.
I'm the odd man out. So
I thought that'd be kind of cool. It was like when I made the poster, it was like Zach versus Isaac, and I was like, this is kind of legit. um, Rev was saying some stuff behind the scenes, and I talked about on Tuesday's show, so I'm gonna try not to like hit the same beats as Tuesday's show where we talked some NFC North. I want to toss some different stuff into this show. We're gonna talk some fantasy. You guys can expect. I got some sitter start decisions. I want to hear about where you guys are at with your leagues, and we can give some fantasy advice. And
Okay.
I don't want to wait till the very end for that. We'll toss that in. We're definitely going to talk some Packers and the rest of the NFC, not just North, because it's a really interesting division. Even the Bears, firing Eberflus, they've had some serious stuff. It's been one of the most intriguing divisions in the league. And with where the Lions are at right now, here's my opening question. What's up? Oh, he knows you too. That's awesome. He's really cool. I want to bring
yeah,
Monster.
I'd love Tip Major. He's a great guy. He's
He's
got
cool.
great
I really want
content.
to do. Yeah, I want to do a show with him. I've had to take so many breaks because of personal stuff. It sucked. I'm actually might go through the holidays for once because I'm not going anywhere, and I've already taken like 3 or 4 breaks this season because of life stuff. So I might just keep going. Um, Tip's awesome. Okay, so here's my opening question for you guys. I asked it on Twitter today. Rev, this is gonna be fun. So you guys, I'm gonna let you guys decide who wants to go first here. I'll go last. Are the
I'll let
Packers?
Rev go first.
Are the Packers? We're not gonna just do Packers. I just want to start with them. Are they Super Bowl contenders this season right now, or are they still a year away? Do they need an extra piece or two? Rev, what do
That's
you
a good
think?
question. That's a good question. Um, I always think if you make the playoffs and you're not like uh, I know we'll be like the sixth seed probably, but there's always a chance when you get to that stage. And if you look at like how we've played against, like we started terribly against Minnesota, but then we came back in the second half. We got killed by Detroit first game. Second game was a lot closer. I just think what that everyone kind of talks to us like we're not relevant, but I think we're actually relevant. And once you get an opportunity, like you're good enough. Like the Seattle game's a perfect example. They're a playoff team at that stage. They'd won 4 games in a row. Their defense was the third best defense in the league in the last 5 weeks, and we went and crushed them. And so I was there live. It was amazing. And so I just think that's the example. Like everyone can kind of sleep on us. And I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl. I think that we just have a chance. And once you have a chance, then like, you know what I mean? It was like last year we were worse and we lost to San Francisco by 3. So my answer is a very long-winded answer to say we've got a chance. And,
It's all good,
and
man.
but I'm not predicting that we're going to win. I'm going to just enjoy the ride. And if we win, it is going to be glorious. And the amount of content I'm going to make is going to be ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, we'll have the off season to carry us, and I kind of feel like we're gonna anyways. Like I'm gonna do a lot of draft stuff, and I know you do. My wife is kind of a surgery in March, so I may take part of March off. But that's a good answer, Rev. And I'm just going to piggyback quickly. I think it's possible. I think it's going to be a difficult route because we're going to be going on the road, and we're gonna have to probably play the first round. I'm not too worried about. We're either gonna play the Bucks, who is kind of decent. Oh, look at this! Look at this!
Hey, Andy, good to see you. I love Andy. He's awesome.
So Zach, he does a show, and I've been on. I think I've been on twice this season. Once in the off season, and it was a lot of fun. He came on my show once too. He does a show with him, and he's a Bears fan.
Jeez,
it's been a rough year for him.
Yeah, it has.
It's always a rough year for the Bears fans,
right?
I do a show with one of the coolest guys, Zach. You'll have to hop on. You too, man. You're one of the best people. Seriously, I hope I get to meet you in person one day. One of my life goals now is to meet Med and Andy and Rev. I really love to meet you. And Zach, you seem awesome, man. I love the flag in the background.
Listen, Sundays. I wish it was still Sundays are for Brady, but now it's just Sundays.
Yeah, it is. He keeps commentating our games. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I love him as a commentator.
He's not bad. He started off a little bit rough, but now he kind of got his groove, and he's starting to get into the mix of things.
He is. I feel like they're letting him go as a commentator now. Really quick, that's actually a good topic. I like the coaching. Here's my concern: we're gonna have to beat not the first round, because I think we'll win whoever. I think we play the Rams or the Bucks. We could catch, Baker or Stafford on a hot day, and our defense could let us down. But I think we win that game. But then we're going to have to go on the road and play Philly or Minnesota or Detroit, and then we're going to have to beat that team and then do it again the following week. And I know we did that in 2010, and it's possible. My question's about the defense, and it's a big, long question I'll get into in a second. So I want to say, I think our ceiling is second round. I think we could get to the title game. So I think that it makes you a contender. I still think we're a player away, though. But Zach, I'm curious on your thoughts. What do you think of the Packers? Do you think they were how would you look at them through the season so far?
So I was telling Rev, my dad's a big Lions fan. Grew up in Michigan. He's not one of them obnoxious Lion fans. Like, he knows Lions from 0-16 to now, and he always knows there's that they'll always come back. But the Packers, honestly, I think them adding Josh Jacobs was a huge boost for them. Is they kind of needed that boost after they lost Aaron Jones and he left, and he's actually been turning it off. And if there's one thing being a Brady fan, is you get into the playoffs. Eli did it to us twice. Got in as a wild card, ended our perfect season, and then Brady did it with the Bucks in 2020. Is you get into the playoffs, it's a whole new game, it's a whole new season. So anybody that gets into the playoff, there's a real good chance. I think Jordan Love, I think the turnovers kind of, is one of those things that he's still learning from, and you guys. I think I talked to Rev about is not really used to that. Is Aaron Rodgers and turned the ball over all that much. So going from there, but I mean, Aaron Love is really surprised me because it's hard to fill in. The Packers have figured out going from Favre to Rodgers and now Love. If he continues it, it's that anybody that gets into the playoffs is what I'm trying to say is fair game. Is I'm not going to say you got into the playoffs. I don't care how you got into the playoffs. I don't care what division you played in. You get hot at the right time, you're going to make a run.
That's my thinking. I just think it's going to be a really difficult route, but I agree because you get in the playoffs, you have a chance, and it's going to be a tough road, but Detroit's depleted. Like, I think right now we could take them. We almost took them before they lost Montgomery, and then they lost 2 or 3 more starters. Like, they lost another player or two in that game, and then they lost 3 more guys last week. And like Rev said, it sucks for Lions fans because they've never gotten to experience winning, and now they're going to have to rely on that offense significantly. Here's my last quick Packer question for you guys. Rev, I'll let you kick it. What's your biggest concern with the team? For me, it's their it's funny because we exploited Seattle's bad offensive line, but I feel like our pass rush hasn't quite gotten home in a way I've wanted them to. Secondary would either be corner or, like you nailed it, man. Our offense is extremely explosive, but it's not that way for 60 minutes, which is difficult anyways. But like against Minnesota, we had that huge comeback and we put up 28 on Detroit in the second half. I want to see it for 60 minutes. We could beat anybody if we could do that for even just 3 quarters. What's your biggest concern?
Yeah, and it's funny because he's our key, but I do think it's Jordan Love. And this is what I mean by that. It's like one half he looks terrible, and the next half he looks like Superman. So when I was there the other night, that pass that he made to Tucker Kraft in the middle of the field, I don't know if you saw it. I have to watch the game. Like, actually, I recorded the game, but I was there, right? So I haven't had time to rewatch it. But when he went back, he was basically in our end zone, and he just chucked it up. And he knew that there was a guy there. The problem was there was 2 wide receivers there, and there was also 2 defenders. And when you catch the ball, it looks glorious, and you're like, "Wow, this guy's amazing!" But it just as easily could have been picked off in that moment. There was also another play. Actually, one of the biggest takeaways watching him live was how often he's on the run and making a throw, and that's where his inaccuracy happens. Sometimes he can do it and hit it right on the dot, but he tries it almost every time. If he stops and plants, he's way better. And
he
so
really
that's one of the things that I really noticed. Like, it was glaringly, like, I've seen it on TV, but being there live, I'm like, oh, that makes me nervous. The other thing too is, like, is Jair ever coming back? Because if there's a time we need him, it's going to be during the playoffs. Because if the pass rush can't get to the quarterback, we have to have a lockdown corner that is there. And if he's ready to go for the playoffs, then that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's almost like, oh, we're going to make the playoffs. I'll be ready for it then. But I don't know. Are you? Because that concerns me. But getting McKinney and Williams has been like game changing. So he's kind of, they've made up for the, like, I think we got to draft a corner next year. So yeah,
I think it's time to let go of Jair, man, because the dude, like, as talented as he is, he's never healthy. Like, he's 3 out of the last 5 years, man. He's been out.
Yeah,
like, we can't count on him. And it's not like 2 games. If you look at his, like, just going like ESPN or whatever, he's missed too many games, man. Like, what is the, like, is he coming back this season?
I think he is.
We need him because Nixon has proven me wrong. I was worried the Nixon signing as a corner would not work, and he's actually been really good. We're up to 8th in DVOA, and Nixon's been our cornerback 1 for most of the season. That's kind of shocking. But I like what you said about Jordan Love as well, man, because when he plants his feet, he's even better. He can make that Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre throw, Zach, where he's got both feet in the air, if you've seen on TV, and they've got another primetime game this week, and they'll be in the playoffs, so they'll be on TV more. But he does that little jump throw or the off balance throw, and he's got the arm talent to make it happen. But sometimes I feel like he wants to do it a little bit too much. So these are things.
Like if you watch my video that I just made yesterday called Smash Seattle, I literally have game footage of that moment. So like you'll see it there. Like, I know that they would have recorded it and put it in the thing, but like, I was 8 rows off the field, right? Wow. So
yeah,
like I
awesome.
recorded that. My friend and I were recording stuff. He got that one, and I put it onto my channel. And you'll see it. It's just like he just turns and chucks it, and everyone's like, "Wow, what a great move!" And I'm thinking, "Ooh, we got lucky." So
and he's got such an arm. We got so lucky again because he can make throws some dudes just can't make. It's his decision making that's improved the second half of the season, and our coaching that gives us a chance. It's the same reason the Vikings are really good, because Kevin O'Connell's a highly underrated coach, and he's got that team locked in with Sam Darnold. Like, who would have, who, I think, Rev, I don't know where you had them before the season, but I had the Vikings all the way down. I think I had the Bears above them because I just didn't believe in Sam Darnold.
I thought they were going to win 4 games or something like that.
And look at that. Look at them now, man.
I mean, I don't know if I've been that wrong on a team in a long time. I don't know. What about you, Zach? Were you a believer in the Minnesota Vikings started?
I mean, I'm not going to say I put them to where they are now. But I
Right.
said if they do succeed, they have the best receiver in football. That's the only thing that's going to make them look good. I mean, I can throw it to Justin Jefferson, and it's the jump ball. But to say where he is now, no, I did not predict it. I said maybe 6 wins.
I think I
But
had him at 6 or 7.
You know what's
I think
funny
that's what happened.
is this year I predicted them to be terrible because I just didn't believe in Sam
Mhm.
Darnold. But the year before, I predicted them to win the division because I thought their defense was going to be good. So I was
Yeah.
wrong. It took them an extra year with Flores to make that defense great.
Mhm.
That defense is very good.
Yeah.
Like that is why I have flipped the switch and I'm like, I think that the Vikings are legitimate. And everyone kept saying, you know, Detroit's going to run with it. I'm like, I don't know. I think Minnesota's there too. The thing is that Green Bay's there as well. So there's a lot of teams in the NFC that I think could win the Super Bowl. But man, I was a year wrong about the Minnesota defense. And so if we knew that the defense was going to play this good, we would have all had them higher. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But nobody predicted what the Vikings would be 12-2. Not a Vikings fan.
No.
There is nobody on the planet. I've seen Bears fans predict that they were going to be 12-2, which is wild to me. But nobody predict. I've seen Detroit fans predicting like high, 14-2 or whatever at the end of the year, or whatever, 14-3, whatever. But nobody had. I mean, nobody had the Vikings this good.
No.
They're way down. The Vikings are actually second in rush defense per EPA and third in pass defense. And their passing attack is top 10 in EPA. It's actually that rushing attack that's lagging, but Aaron Jones has still been solid. If the Vikings get the 1 seed, man, they're going to be tough to beat in Minnesota.
That's a good
It
point.
might come down to who gets the number 1 seed, honestly, but like you nailed it, Rev. The Phillies got question marks too. Every team does in the NFC. So it's funny because I think it's the better conference of the two now because I don't trust. There's a lot of teams on the AFC side. So let's play a game. If you guys are ready, let's do this, okay?
Let's do it.
But before we do it, Zach, I didn't kick that to you, and I apologize. What's your biggest question mark about the Packers? I want to play a game in a minute.
Honestly, I don't get to watch too much Packers fans living here in Orlando, Florida, so it's hard to keep up with them. But I would say it's Jordan Love. I talked about it, the turnovers and everything, but he needs to, like you said, he throws up the ball, but like Jordan Reed needs to be involved almost every game. Get it to your playmakers. You don't have throw it out of bounds. Just throw it out of bounds. You don't have to make the Hail Mary throws or the incredible throws. I think he's still in the learning process of, going through the steps and learning it but I think it's going to come down to Jordan Love. He's going to have to realize, it's my team. I have to take over. I have to do that Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing. I'm the leader. It's my team now. It's time for me to lead. I got to lead. Until that happens, I don't think they're going to – I think they're Super Bowl contenders with that defense. And even though, that defense is questionable, but I think everybody's going to get healthy and they're going to start playing. And my only other question is, can that defense hold up if they play a high-scoring team like the Lions, and can the offense and Jordan Love keep up with those offenses that score 40, 50 points a game? Because Lions defense, let's be honest, it's even when they were healthy, they weren't the best in the league. They're going to score 30, 40 points a game. Who's going to keep up with them? And once you stop it, and like I said, I think it's going to come down to Love being that leader.
Ironically, it might. I agree, but the Eagles are a team that's been kind of underachieving on offense, but their defense is elite. They took the guy I wanted them to take in the draft. The Packers, Cooper DeJean, he's been killing it. And Kenyon Mitchell, that Eagles defense and that running game, it's different styles that we're going to hit because the Lions are like what you said now exactly. Can we stop Gibbs? Can we stop the passing attack? Our defensive line held up, but what undermined us in that game was holding our offensive line, keeping Jordan Love intact in the first half, it kind of derailed our first 30 minutes of football of offense. Then we got LaFleur went in the locker room, lit them up. They changed their schemes and they protected Love in the second half, and then they did damage against Detroit. But it's going to be different. It's going to be a few different fights. We're going to have to stop Detroit's offense. Minnesota can put up some points when they protect Darnold, but they're kind of defensive driven. And Rev, I don't know if you agree with this, but I would say Philly's more defensive and Saquon Barkley driven than anything. That passing attack has been kind of terrible, actually, considering all the weapons they have. So can we stop Saquon?
Yeah. I've been talking about Philly for a long time because everyone kept talking, like, they're like, oh, the Commanders. I'm like, you guys are not talking about Philadelphia. They had a little of a blip in their schedule there. And I was looking at them like, I still think Philly's for real. And now all of a sudden everyone's talking about Philadelphia again. And it's like, I could legitimately see Philadelphia going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're probably the most healthy out of everyone. I guess Minnesota's pretty healthy too. But
since we're on the topic of the Eagles, my co-host, big Eagles fan, I told him I would throw the Eagles out there. The thing with the Eagles is it's Jalen Hurts. It's that passing game is, I don't know why. I don't know what is wrong with him with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and everything, but it's Barkley running that team. And I told him in the beginning of the season when Kelsey retired, I said, who is going to be the guy to be that leader? Because Kelsey was the leader of that whole offense. Got that offensive line together. And I said, Lane Johnson needs to step up. But I told him, I said, don't be surprised if Barkley steps up to be that leader. He might have to be. He's the veteran coming in. He doesn't, like, he has that chip on his shoulder, like Giants let him go. He wants to prove. I said, he's going to have to step up. And I think he realized that a few games in that it's going to be his team. And I think he's taken that role. And the Barkley that we're seeing now, the Giants are kicking themselves, going, what the fuck are we doing?
And like the Giants losing McKinney to us.
Yeah.
They let those two guys go, and now the GM should get canned for keeping Brian Burns, getting him instead of keeping two of your franchise cornerstones in McKinney and Barkley. Okay, well, while we're on the top of Eagles, here's my game. We'll just start with them. And I think you guys already kind of answered the question, but buy or sell, and I'll just go Super Bowl. Do you buy the Eagles as a Super Bowl contender this season? I do. I'll go last. I think we kind of already hit it. Zach?
I'll go first. I think they are. I am worried about one person on their defense, Jalen Carter, is because he's a hothead and he has done some stupid mistakes that has cost.
You got one of those too.
And you do is if he can contain himself and just play, I do think, and I think the passing game for the Eagles is going to come around. Is they haven't hit that yet, but if they get into the playoffs and they get hot, and you have Barkley still running the ball in that defense, and Jalen Hurts gets with Brown, Goddard, and Smith, I think it's game over.
If they don't get hot and that passing tech doesn't get going, I think that is going to be their undoing. And the Vikings pass D, the Lions, actually, the pass D isn't as banged up as other parts of their team. But the Packers, if they get Alexander, I think they can slow Hurts and the passing attack down. And then they're going to have to completely rely on Saquon, and he might just be good enough to do it by himself. But I don't know, man. Hurts has been not looking right. That's my concern. But I still, for me, they're the best team in the NFC right now with the way that defense is playing. I would pick them to go to the Super Bowl, even with my question marks. But winning the Super Bowl and getting there, you've got to have everything clicking, or you've got to be the best defense in football, which they've been close to. Rev, you've talked a lot of Philly. We kind of already hit it. Can you see them winning a Super Bowl this season, or just knocking on the door?
I think I can see them winning it for sure. I just think there's some teams in the AFC too that are no joke. So it's hard to. I can see Philly going to the Super Bowl than I can see them winning. But then if they make the Super Bowl, it's like, why can't they win? Yeah. I mean, not only Barkley, but I think that, like, what we don't talk about, we're like, yeah, Jalen Hurts is struggling, but his wide receivers are dynamite. Man, they
Oh,
are
wow.
good.
Yeah,
And so if they can hold up defensively, you've got a run game, you've got the tush push, you've got wide receivers. I mean, what is it that not that you need a tush push to win a Super Bowl. It's just awkward thing for me to say. But the thing is like I just look at it and go, wow, like they are solid top to bottom, and that's what I've been impressed with. Yeah, you and I were all both on Dejean there, and we wanted him, but
dude, and
we wanted a
especially
line.
after drafting Morgan, this would have been freaking perfect, dude. Like, I love Goot, but that was a miss.
I know, but we got Edgerrin Cooper, bro. That's all that
No,
matters.
absolutely. But can you imagine if we had Cooper DeJean and Edgerrin Cooper and freaking McKinney?
You and I, we were talking like that. That's what we were doing. Every mock draft, you and I had them there.
You guys should have called the Packers organization.
I literally have times, Zach, there's been so many times me and my friend have been talking. We're like, how do we not have a job? Because, like, I don't know what is. They're making millions of dollars or, like, say, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're boneheaded moves that everybody on the planet, even their own fan base, like, I don't get it. Now, I'm not talking about Packers only. I'm just talking about everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's things like, okay, for example, nobody thought that the Penix Jr. pick was good, right? And so maybe it works out, but that's like that was terrible draft management.
Yeah.
But obviously they believed in him, so
we're about to see this week. We're about to see this week if it's worth the
25.
If it's worth it.
And not only is that management awful, it's like you went and paid him all this money, Kirk Cousins all this money, and you use the draft. Like, that is just bad. I could do a better job. I don't care that I have no training. I've never played. I've never coached. I've never, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I can do a better job.
I agree, dude. Like, if I wasn't a teacher, if I could just make content or be a scout, I don't think I'd want the responsibility being a GM because I feel like you're just there to lose. I think here's what I would want to do. I don't think I have the right, like, voice tenor and stuff. I would want to just call the games for the team all the time, because GMs, you either get fired or you get promoted. There's almost no GM that stays in the job more than a decade. Head coaches typically last longer. GMs, it's rare. Like, Ron Wolf is like a rare success story. And the Packers kind of have been one of those few franchises, other than the Patriots, that have kept, because it was Belichick. But there's rare circumstances a GM stays in place longer than like 5 to 10 years. Usually they just get canned. And the NFL has gotten too impatient with this now, with coaches and quarterbacks and GMs where they let them go way too early. And the Packers have been kind of a model of consistency. Now, I'd like to get some more rings because we've only had 2 in the last few decades. It's time to get another one. We need to add to the collection. But I agree with you guys on the Eagles. And if that's the worst thing that we're saying about Jalen Hurts in the passing game, you got A.J. Brown, you got Hurts just has to not suck, and that team's going to be pretty tough to beat, even for the Packers, because I think our kryptonite still, Rev, even though we've been better, is I want to see us hold up and stop Saquon Barkley. That's a tough assignment for anybody. So that's going to be something we're going to have to tackle in the playoffs. But we got a fantasy question I want to hit in a second. All right, next team. We've kind of already talked them. We talked the Packers. Let's go to the Lions. After all these injuries, and if you guys need the list, I could go freaking find it. I will in a second. All their injuries, I'm going to name the names. This is going to be a list. But the one that really scared me was losing McNeil. I didn't like that one. But losing Montgomery, man, he's like the heart and soul. There's a reason it's called Sonic and Knuckles. That one scares me a lot. They got 21 players on injured reserve. Carlton Davis going out. They already have Aiden Hutchinson out. David Montgomery. They've lost like players on every level of the defense. Is it too much, or can they still win a Super Bowl? What do you guys think?
Honestly,
Zach, you want to start this one?
I'll start this one. Is, with my dad's being a Lions fan, is I do think it's too much. And I was talking to Rev before we got on, is I think Dan Campbell gambling is what's going to cost him, like it did last year.
Dan Gamble. Dan Gamble.
Last year he didn't take those 3 points when he should have. There was a lot of listen, you take those points, especially in the conference championship. There's a time to gamble and there's a time to not gamble, and I think Dan Campbell is a great coach, and that's what he does. But he has to realize there comes a time that you can't always go for it on fourth down. Those points in the playoffs are precious. No matter where it is, no matter if it's 3 points, no matter if it's 6 points, it doesn't matter. You got to take the points, especially in close ball games. So I think, and that defense is awful now. It's terrible. I don't think without that defense, and you play a team like the Bills that can go right there with you, I don't think so. I'm not buying them on right now in the state and losing Montgomery. It's because now Gibbs is the main guy. Who's the second? Who's backing him up?
Patrick Taylor? Rev, who's their next running back? I don't even know.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It's such a drop off, man.
It is a drop off, but this is the thing that I think is weird about I understand he's a heart and soul guy. I think he's very, very good. But you had 2 number 1 running backs, and who are they going to go get and sign? And it's you don't need anyone. You literally still have a number 1 running back there. Gibbs is dynamic. Now he's just different. He's not the pound guy in there, but maybe he can pull off some of those things. I still think I don't think their running game is going to really miss much of a beat, even though they're going to miss Montgomery. But apparently he dodged a bullet and he's going to be back. So if that's the case, man, I'm not worried about that. I think it's the other injuries I'm more worried about. When Aiden Hutchinson went down, I'm like, it's over. And then they kept rolling. And I was like, wow, this team's great.
Za'Darius has been huge for him. That's a guy that losing Preston. We lost Za'Darius, and then we traded Preston away, and our pass rush has not picked up. And that's the biggest thing we need to hit in the offseason, other than corner. And at the end of the show, I've got a Packer thing, an offensive thing for you. But the Lions, man, they're deep, but I don't know how deep you can be after losing all these guys on the defensive line. They've lost McNeil, Hutchinson. They lost Wingo. That's 3 starters. They're down to Za'Darius and Reed. Pascal is not as good. And Owen Wazarki, whoever that is, he's been okay. You still got Jack Campbell in the middle, and you got Quan Alexander, but they've lost 3 linebackers, 4 actually, on IR. And now you're down Rakestraw, who they were hoping would contribute, is out, and Carlton Davis is out. So now they're down a starting corner. They've lost guys on every level of that defense. That's what Rev, I think you nailed it, man. I think that's going to be the difference between I don't know. They were so good on Zach early on this season. They were pretty good on D. Now you're seeing slippage.
Okay,
I think that's going to keep them from winning. I really do.
Let me do the other flip side, okay? Because I just made a video why the Detroit Lions will not win the Super Bowl. Lions fans hate me right now. They literally have it out for me.
You're catering to the Lions fans. I like this.
Oh, dude, they cannot stand me. But what they don't listen to me. That's the problem. So I've made about 4 videos about Packers, Lions, and then I just made one dedicated to Lions. But I actually have a lot of respect for Lions, and I know I know you guys do too. But okay, so let me push back. I do not think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. Okay. But they still have a chance, and I'll tell you why.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because the reason why is they lost Hutchinson, they're still winning. They had a depleted team. They still beat us as the Packers. Last week, they lost the game. It was an absolute shootout. If they play like that, they could easily win the Super Bowl. So I don't want to count them out yet, because they're finding ways with this mixed mash of a team. If they win, this might be the craziest win in Super Bowl history with all those injuries. Now I've given them credit. Let me tell you one thing. I'm not boo-hooing nothing when it comes to their 22 IR spots. We had 16 and we won the Super Bowl. So if everyone wants to cry and whine about that, don't. Because nobody's going to cry and whine for you Lions fans. Nobody's going to care that you're the 0-16 team. and that you deserve it. You don't deserve jack squat. You know what you deserve? You deserve what you earn. And if you earn it, you will have all my respect. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not crowning you nothing. I'm not crowning you nothing. So I'm giving you like credit. You have a chance. There's an opportunity. I know everyone's saying, no way, Lions can't do it. I did this even before the new injuries. I did that video. So yeah, I still think they have a chance.
I like what you said that they have to earn it, because I don't know if you know this guy, Rev, you should I could send you his stuff. We met this guy who works with Sports Illustrated. He does his name is John with Detroit Sports Podcast on Twitter. And he is a very, very he's got a lot of bravado for a Lions fan. And we've had him on twice. He's great. I love him, seriously. He's got some energy. And he's been kind of like talking like they've already won a Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, you haven't even made a Super Bowl yet. So maybe earn it a little bit. Maybe earn it. Yeah.
I mean, you got Zach sitting in here, and he's like, watch his favorite player win 7 Super Bowls. Nobody has even come close to that. We're talking Joe Montana had 4. You know what I mean? Like that was dynasty. Like that's so hard to win. And Brady lost Super Bowls too.
Oh yeah.
So he's had a lot of good teams. He should have never won the Atlanta Falcons comeback. That should have not happened, and they found a way to win. It was amazing. And so crazy stuff happens. I know Detroit has an opportunity here, and I'm not counting them out at this stage, but like if you're putting like my life on the line for it, I'm not putting my life on the line for the Lions.
No.
Okay, Zach, I want you to hit the Lions, and then I want to pivot to some fantasy, and then we'll talk Vikings and the rest of the NFC teams quickly, because I want to hit we got to talk a little AFC, and I've got some other stuff for you guys too.
Gotcha.
Rev, I don't know how long you got to. We'll try to wrap it like hour 15-ish, hour and a half. But all right, Zach, can the Lions still do this?
I think, like Grev said, they have a chance. I'm not going to count them out. I am looking forward to see if Gibbs can be the main guy. He didn't have to be. He was number one. He was taken first round, number one, whatever. Not number one overall, but you get what I'm saying. Can he carry that team not with the help of someone? I think he can, but it just is he's the main guy now. You don't have that Montgomery to lean on. That you don't have to carry the team as much is because when you have someone like Montgomery and him that can go back and forth, get a little bit of a rest, and then you have Montgomery come in and then Montgomery switch it out. Now you don't really have that. Maybe the next person comes in and they can do that, but I don't think it's going to be at the level of Montgomery. So I'm looking forward to see, with all that injury on defense, yes, it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to see if Gibbs can be the main guy and if he's going to live up to it.
And it's Craig Reynolds and then Sion Vaki. I think he's a rookie behind him. Where the Lions, to me, won that game against the Packers was our lack of depth at corner, Rev. It was our defensive line not getting a pass rush, too. But Tim Patrick beat us. If we can solve that problem this next time, that'd be nice. That was stupid. It was our lack of depth. They didn't go at Nixon very much because he's been excelling as a corner. They went to Jameson Williams and they went to Tim Patrick and to Laporta. And those 3 dudes were why we lost that game, because our defensive line shockingly held up and stopped the run against Detroit. So I like what Zach said, because now you don't have the Montgomery. Those 2 dudes together. I don't know if you guys have watched some Lions this year. I've watched a lot. My wife, annoyingly, is a Lions fan. She just doesn't like the Packers that much, and she is liked the Lions for years. She likes Dan Campbell, and since I've known her, and she likes Philly because she loves to hate Dallas, and I love it. I'm all for it. I love you, Dallas. Area. I'm all for it. I freaking hate the Cowboys. Her family is all Cowboys fans. Me and her are not. It's great. But anyways, those 2 dudes together, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs together, have done things individually that Barry Sanders did by himself. That's how special Barry was, but that's how special this combo is. And as good as Gibbs is, and he's shown he can run between the tackles, it's different having Zach. You nailed it, man. Both you guys. Seriously, Rev, you did great. Losing Montgomery it changes the offense. It's not it can't be as run oriented because I don't know if Gibbs can handle for a small stretch, but I don't know if he's the type of guy that can handle 25 to 30 touches that Montgomery and Gibbs together were getting like 30 to 40. So it's going to be a different attack. But so I agree with you on that part, Zach. But then on Rev, I agree with you that the defense is what scares me more. So good stuff. Okay. I want to come back to it, but let's hit a little bit of fantasy. We got a quick question, and then I've got one that's similar, and I want to talk about y'all's teams if you're game. This guy's asking, PPR flex, would you start Shakir for Buffalo against New England, or would you start McMillan against Dallas? I've been throwing more fantasy content in the show, Rev. I'll go last here. What do y'all think?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I've got a McMillan question for y'all, too.
I really like McMillan there.
I do, too.
I would lean McMillan. It's the thing about Shakir is, I mean, he's got the touchdowns, right? No, it's not the touchdowns. It's the 20-plus yards that he's got.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like a big play guy. Like you got the boomer bust dudes, and that's the one that's hard to me. Like he's only got 4 touchdowns, but McMillan. Oh man, he's only got 4 touchdowns as well. Man, it's tough. That's a tough one. I think I would. I mean, who does Buffalo play again?
Buffalo plays New England. McMillan plays Dallas, who's super depleted. I don't have McMillan. I've got a similar one. I've got McMillan, or do I start? This is kind of tough. Do I start McMillan or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Who are the Cardinals playing?
Hold on, let me go to it. And it's a non-PPR for me. And this is this team's 8-6, but it's pretty solid. I got Daniels, Barkley, Bajan. I'm having to start Jordan Addison. I'm a little thin at receiver. I've got McMillan against Dallas on Sunday night, or Marvin Harrison against Carolina, who's sneaky solid in the pass defense, actually, in Carolina. And Harrison's been up and down. But like my coworker made this argument, and it applies to Derek's question. The Bucs, Mike Evans is undoubtedly the number one. No Godwin, though. And Kate Otten's solid, and Rashad White, when he's healthy, he's a good target. But Mike Evans is the number one receiver, but McMillan's been rolling. In Arizona, you could argue Trey McBride's the number one target, but Marvin Harrison Jr. still is the number one receiver. The Arizona Cardinals passing attack, like every year, nosedives because Kyler Murray can't play a full season successfully. He just drops off. I just don't think his body holds up. He has a second half dip every year. Harrison has not gotten over 50 yards. He's only done that once in the last 4 games. It's a little scary. McMillan, I'm on ESPN right now. McMillan to help him out. And it's just ironic because that was similar to my question for y'all. And then I want to talk about your guys' teams. McMillan, the last 2 games, 75 yards on 5 receptions off 6 targets. So in a PPR, he had 13.5. The week before that, and a touchdown. So he had 13.5 in a non-PPR. And then the week before that, he had 4 catches on 7 targets for 59 yards, 2 TDs. But then he was terrible the 2 weeks before that. He had 36 yards combined the 2 weeks. But the last 2 weeks, 3 TDs. And he's been kind of picking it up. He's a rookie. They both are. It's tough. In a PPR, though, it's a little different. I think I'd go Shakir.
If I had to pick just of recently, because McMillan's had a solid 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what's scary is the last 2 weeks, he's been solid. But it's
what are you gonna do? It's
against
tough, right?
Dallas is one of those teams, even though like my brother's a big Dallas fan, is their defense can show up at any point. Even with the injuries, it's what they showed it. That's what
not at home though this season. They've been freaking awful at home.
Yeah,
this
but
season.
Then Baker Mayfield can also play the turnover bug where he becomes Baker Mayfield of Cleveland.
He reminds me of Drew Brees a little. Right now, this version of Baker where he's just rolling. But if you guys remember Drew Brees, he would have 5 touchdowns for a couple games, and the next game he could have 5 picks. Mm-hmm. It was just Drew Brees. he would have a bad game or two every season. Baker's a little like that. When he's hot, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. When he's not even close.
I know
So it
it's
just
hard.
depends on what Baker you're going to get.
I know it's hard to like roll the dice and like have confidence in a guy who's only played two good weeks. But if my final answer is you roll McMillan on both of those questions, and the reason why is because if you look at Harrison Jr., he should be the clear-cut, no-brainer, blah, blah, blah. He has been such a disappointment.
Really
the amount of times he's been under like whatever 6 points is embarrassing, right?
Oh, dude,
he's
like,
the 39th best wide receiver in fantasy football. Like that's ridiculous, right? Yeah. So I'm just looking at his stats. Out of the last 4 weeks, 4.7. He had 12 against Minnesota. He had 4.9 against Seattle. So those are the back-to-back. Seattle shut him down. New England got him at 3.2 points. He had a 0. He's at a 2.1. A 3. Like he had one good week, and it was in week 2. So to me, it's like forget him. I'm done with him. I told everyone to draft Neighbors anyways. No one listened to me. That's why. But when it comes to Shakur's the different one where it's like, well, Buffalo puts up 50 points or 40 points, and then he could get lucky and bust one to big time. So, but I'm just thinking, I'm rolling with Baker. Give me a Baker's dozen, and he can. I mean, look at how many points he got, and Evans had a monster week. Yeah. So I'm saying you gotta you gotta win. You gotta get points. So I'm going McMillan. I know it's a bold take, but I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it.
I'm going Trev. I'm going hot hand. I'm going McMillan. Is you have to, if you're gonna put him up against Marvin Harrison, like you said, you just pointed out the points. Is even against Carolina, who has been sneaky good lately,
that defense has been solid. Shakir
and James Conner has been running the ball pretty damn good. So he has. They do that heavenly.
Shakir, 39 yards last week only, but a touchdown, 106 yards the week before and a TD. So pretty good. Only 30 yards the week before that, but 70 the week before that, 58, 50, 107. That offense is a little bit more explosive. So I think I'm with you guys on the McMillan thing. I'm hoping you know, scared money don't make money. So I'm going to roll McMillan in my league at receiver. I got one more for you guys, and then I want to hear your guys' tough start decisions, and we could talk a few matchups if you guys want really quick. I want to talk some more contenders in a minute, but here's my other question. Okay, it's a non-PPR. I'm starting Jaden Daniels. I'm rolling the dice against Philly. I have to. My other option is freaking Anthony Richardson, or I pick up a QB. And unfortunately, even though Daniels hasn't been great, I kind of have to roll with him. I think. I'm going with Barkley, obviously. I'm going with Bajan. I'm going with Addison. I'm going with McMillan. Here's my other question mark for you guys. Would you go Hawkinson against Seattle, or would you go Ertz against Philly? And Ertz is banged up. And then I've got one last question. I was leaning Hawkinson because Ertz is banged up and Philly's defense is better than Seattle.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, last one. Aaron Jones against Seattle, non-PPR, or Bucky Irving against Dallas, or if he plays, Tyrone Tracy. I'm kind of loaded at running back. I'm thin at receiver. Tyrone Tracy against Atlanta. He's questionable. And I don't know, he can explode, but he's had less carries recently. So I was leaning Irving or Jones. My last option is Jerome Ford, but I don't think I can do that. I got to see him have a good game first, even though Chubb's out. So I'm leaning Jones or Bucky Irving. Jones is playing at Seattle Sunday afternoon, so it could be rainy, and they could run more. And Bucky Irving is playing at Dallas.
I'm going Bucky Irving, and it's not close. And the reason why is week 12, he had 21. Week 13, he had 24.5. Vegas, he sucked, but he got hurt. Right? And then he wasn't supposed to play last year. He had a hip injury, and he got 11 points. He had 117 yards on the ground, and he had a hip injury.
And he'd had a touchdown
I'm all in Bucky Irving, and don't even think about anything else.
It sucks though because it's so hard to bench Jones. You're looking at the 15th best running back in Jones and then Irving 17th. So I don't feel like I can go wrong here. I wish it was a double flex, honestly.
Dude, if Bucky Irving was the number one running back in Tampa Bay from week 1, he'd be a top 10 running back.
100%.
Okay, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm putting Bucky Irving in. I've been thinking about it all week.
I mean, tough. Jones is the safe play. It depends what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want the safe play, go Jones. Okay, but like
I want to win this league. It's been a minute. I want to win this one. I'm gonna buy myself a trophy if I win it. I'm gonna do it.
But dude, I want a trophy for my already set. It doesn't matter. You have Bijan and Barkley.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? What is this, a dynasty league? Because it can't be a redraft.
This is an auction. It was an auction. And I landed Daniels for like $3. My only problem is Addison's been solid. I just need my second receiver to pan and Daniels because I can overcome tight end not being great because I've got the Packers D and I started Will Lutz and he already had 12 points for me last night. And I got the Packers D at New Orleans with no Kamara. They're going to eat, man.
I think Bucky Irving is the answer. I just don't I can't see you losing this week, just saying.
I hope so, dude. I'm favored barely. But I got a little lucky too because I started Lutz. He had 12.6 and I played against Cortland Sutton and he only had 5. So I'm only projected to win by 7, but I feel like I'm in good shape.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, Zach, but looking at like Aaron Jones as a safe play, it might be okay just to start him. Like it depends on what you're feeling. If you're worried about the re-injury, then just play Aaron Jones and just be happy. But I think you win anytime. Like it does not matter who you put in at that scenario. I'm pretty sure you're going to win either one. But I'm a huge Bucky Irving fan.
So check out. I gotta load you. I gotta tell you guys my other team, and then I want to hear your guys' stuff.
I don't want to need to hear Zach.
Zach, sorry, yeah,
I'm going Irving.
You're going Irving too?
I'm going Irving. Is Aaron Jones? Yes, is a safe pick. He's been kind of up and down. Bucky Irving has been rock solid the past 5 or so weeks. So
is he 100% healthy? That was my only question mark. Do you guys know?
Irving? No, he's not.
He's still banged up, right? He's still questionable.
But if he can go out there last week and he wasn't even supposed to play and put up over 100 yards, and then
dude, I'm telling you, next year Bucky Irving is going to get drafted crazy high.
Oh yeah.
Hey, they took it away, Rev and Zach. He's not even questionable. They took away the injury designation for the hip and the back. He's not even He's not even probable. He's good. He's playing.
Who is Cleveland playing?
Cleveland is playing, I think, Cincinnati, right?
Yeah,
at Cincy, whose defense is porous.
That's why I was going to say I would Ford is on my radar as to start him.
Yeah, he just hasn't been. He just
had a good game last week, didn't he?
He had 84 yards on a TD against KC, so that's actually not bad. Before that, he hadn't had over 65 yards rushing all season. That was one solid game, though. But
I mean,
when you got Jones and you got Irving, I'm like, I need to see a little more.
Over those two, yes. Is if you need a start and Ford's available, or if you're wondering, against Cincinnati's defense.
Jason says Jones. I think I get why he's saying it. It's the safe play. I was leaning Irvin all week, and I got Bucky in my other league. Okay, all right. I'll do my second team later. What's y'all's toughest sit-start decision this weekend to try to get to your fantasy Super Bowl? Zach, why don't you start this one?
I'll start this one. Listen, my team the whole year has been straight garbage. The fact when I say I'm in the playoffs, I'm like points for, I'm 11th in the league out of 12.
What's your points against? Are you like
I'm like top five.
Oh, you got a defense. That's how you win. There you go, man.
Dude, I have right now. I'm going through my 5th quarterback. I had Anthony Richardson. First game, I said this guy's going to kill it. He has been straight garbage. I had Deshaun Watson, garbage. I had Caleb Williams. He had a few good games. I had Carr, and now I'm doing Penix Jr. just because they're playing the Giants.
So you know it's funny is I've actually considered the Penix Jr. thing. I thought about it for a coworker because I'm in a work league and I missed the playoffs and I've been helping her out. It's this nice older lady. She's awesome. And I almost told her to pick up Penix instead of Brock Purdy, but it's his first start. And that first start for rookies can be brutally difficult. And it's not the beginning of the season. It's late season. It's hard to roll that dice, man, but I don't blame you.
With my quarterbacks, I'm gonna roll the dice is because Anthony Richardson, I've rolled the dice all fucking year, drafted him 4th round. And I can't get any worse at this point. So
you're still alive, dude.
And against the Giants, that I'm gonna take it. Like, there's a part of me that I'm just gonna take it because I'm in the playoffs. How I got to the playoffs, like I said, I have no idea. But right now
you're still there, man.
Jonathan Taylor. Do I start him or Kenneth Walker?
We said I get you Kenneth Walker. Who?
Taylor plays Tennessee, and then Kenneth Walker plays Minnesota.
Because Minnesota's run defense is insane.
That's what
I wouldn't start anyone against Minnesota's run D. Unless you got Saquon, unless you got a top 5 guy who just is a freaking beast, you can't refuse. Like, I'm not going to sit Saquon, so I would start Saquon against Minnesota and a few other dudes.
Oh yeah,
that's tough, man.
If I had Saquon, I probably wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah,
but that's my only thing is, I am going to start Spears against Indianapolis, but other than that, it's Walker or.
I understand, Rev. It's been a long week of little sleep for me. I get it. The puppy is woken me up.
I'm also sick, man. I'm super sick right now.
Oh, dude. We don't have to stay on very long. I've had a blast with you guys, though. Okay, Zach, sorry. Keep going.
I would do Jonathan Taylor. I would just go safe.
Yeah, I would go Taylor on that one. Unfortunately, it's tough to roll the dice against that elite of a defense. Sometimes they just break through, but man, I don't think you can do it. Minnesota's run D, aren't they like 2nd or 3rd? I gotta look.
They're up there.
Oh, look, hold on, I got you.
The one that Jason put in the comments is pretty good. Do I play Jordan Love or Jared Goff? And I think the no-brainer pick is Jared Goff because he just almost threw 500 yards. But I think Chicago has got a better defense than people give credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love against. There's the thing. I'm going to still say Jared Goff. And the reason why is because I think that still have to do a little bit of shootout stuff. Jordan Love, they can still hand the ball off to Jacobs, and that's why he's not putting up monster numbers. They run the ball a lot more now. They don't. It's not on Jordan Love's shoulders. So I know, Jason, you're a Packers fan, and you want to play Jordan Love. It depends. Are you going for the finals, or are you just – I don't know. I think the safe play is Jared Goff, and you stick with him. And I think they're both good options. But
the Bears' pass D is 18th in yards, and the Saints' pass D – I'm looking right now. The Saints' pass D is 28th. I think I'd go Jordan Love. Yeah,
I hope you're right. Like I just see Jacobs as like getting another, like he could get 3 touchdowns, and when he gets 3 touchdowns, then Jordan Love doesn't have good weeks, right? So
that's the problem, is he's like not that amazing fantasy wise. And Goff
was last year. He was last year.
Yeah, and then like he's put up some stats. He's had some weeks, but it's kind of tough, man. Like I wouldn't blame Jason if you did go Jared Goff. The Bears are kind of reeling. Goff could go off. They don't have the double-headed monster running back. Like, they can lean on Gibbs to an extent, but they're going to have to throw the ball more than they have been. So there's an argument for Goff here too. I'd go Love, but that one's really close. So good question.
I'd go Goff just because they're going to put up points and they're going to put up yardage. Even when they had Montgomery and Gibbs, they still threw the ball.
Well, they're probably going to throw the ball more now, Zach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No Montgomery, it's like he might. Man, he was 6 yards away from 500.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous against Buffalo too, whose defense hasn't been that great though. They really haven't actually.
They've had some injuries too.
Zach, did you have another fantasy one?
No, other than Jonathan Taylor and Walker I think I'm pretty solid. I'm just going to stick with, I have Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, and then Jameson Williams.
It's a pretty good trio, man. Jameson's been underrated.
And then Brock Bowers as my tight end.
Well, that's why your team's, it's just your quarter. I get it, because Jaden Daniels hasn't been that amazing for me. That's a good team, dude. I don't know how that's 11th in scoring.
because Nico Collins was hurt, Puka Nacua was hurt.
True.
My quarterback putting up 10 points in a PPR league. Like, it's terrible.
That's tough. Rev, what's your toughest sit?
So my team's stacked. I'm serious. I have Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. These are my wide receivers: Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, and then Jamison Williams, Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson. Okay, so my wide receivers are insane. And then I had Derrick Henry and Kamara, but now Kamara's doubtful. I do not think he's going to play. So I put in Bucky Irving. So my question is, do I start in the flex option?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. I'm going to do three wide receivers, okay?
Okay.
So do I sit Cooper Kupp, because he got a 0 for me, and go Jefferson, Brian Thomas, and Neighbors? Or do I do Jefferson, Kupp, and either Neighbors or Thomas Jr.? Like, which one of, like, pick 3 of those 4 who you're going to go. So Jefferson plays Seattle. That's a no-brainer. Kupp plays the Jets, at the Jets, which that I don't know if that means anything. And then Brian Thomas Jr. is literally on fire. He's at Vegas, and Malik Neighbors is at Atlanta.
So here's my question. How has Neighbors been the last few weeks? Because I don't have him, and the Giants are just a hot mess. Has he still been putting up stats?
It's a good question. So let me share with you. It's his game log is, so he had 3 weeks ago, he had 11.3. I'm in a 0.5 PPR.
Okay.
He had 8 catches, 13 targets for 69 yards. The next week, he was 12.4. He had 10 targets, 5 catches, 79. No touchdowns in neither one of those. And last week against Baltimore, he had 14 targets, 10 catches, 82, and a touchdown. So that he's been good the last 3 weeks, but last week he was great. Where Thomas Jr. has been unbelievable for the last 3 weeks: 16.7, 12.6, 27.5.
Ooh, it's not bad.
I feel like I can't really go wrong. It's just
no, you can't.
Is Cooper Kupp, like, it's so hard to sit Cooper Kupp, right? But in the last 3 weeks,
Cooper Kupp, dude. I really do. Sorry,
he had 3.2 3 weeks ago, 17.7 2 weeks ago, and 0 last week.
It's hard for me to start a guy in a second round of a playoff after goose egging it. Like Jaden Reed did this to me, and I'm about to ask y'all about that one because I have 2 teams left out of 4, really, because I was in 4 money leagues. I made it this far in 2 of them, so it's not bad. But Jaden Reed goose egged it a couple weeks ago, and they still haven't really gotten him going massively. You know what? As much as I love Cooper Kupp, dude, I think you got to sit him, and I might eat it for that, but I think I'd sit him. I think I'd go Neighbors, Jefferson, and
Thomas Jr.
Hold on a second. Let me look at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Jacksonville plays who?
The Raiders.
Ooh.
I mean, it's
how has he been?
I'm rolling with Mac Jones here.
Yeah, the sucky thing is you're relying on the hard thing is it's like you also got to think about it this way too. And this is where I go deep dive into fantasy. I need to really do more fantasy content next year, but life happens. I haven't been able to do as many videos this year. Like, I'm going to just go way more fantasy focused next year because it's fun. And when I'm thinking about my receivers, I'm always thinking about, what the corner they're matching up against, and is the team going to be, is there going to be enough volume? Like, are they going to be behind? Is it going to be a close game? I don't want a team to get up by 21, stop throwing the ball. You know what I mean? Like the Packers, the one argument for not Jordan Love is we could lean on Jacobs in the first half, be up 24, 28, nothing, 28-3, because the Saints suck. No Kamara. We could just destroy them, and then Love won't be needed in the second half. So in those games, the only bigger problem I have is you're relying on Drew Lock for the Giants, and like you just said, Mac Jones, man, that's tough. But how's Brian Thomas been?
Amazing.
That's what I thought. I was like,
he's been 27 last week.
Dude, I think you got to go with the rookies, dude. I think you got to go risk here, man. Risk it to get the biscuit.
I do think Cooper Kupp is going to have a good game. is because I think
Is
they're
it going to be better than the other two?
because that I don't know, but the thing with the Rams is if Puka has a bad game or if Cooper Kupp, they're going to go to one of them. And usually, how it usually goes, if one of them has a bad game, the next game they usually throw to. And I don't know who the other corner for the Jets is besides Sauce Gardner. It's not like he's doing much this year, so he's going to probably be on Puka,
Mm-hmm.
which may open the field up for Cooper.
It might.
But
And the Rams are 9th in passing. I'm looking at the stats. This is tough. So Cooper Kupp on the season, 657 yards, 6 TDs. Damn, dude, this is hard. Like, I'm looking at. I gotta see how he's been all season.
I think with Mac Jones there's going to be garbage time as well.
Yeah, there really is.
Where they're going to have to throw, and Brian Thomas, let's be honest, is the main guy. You're going to get it to him, especially in garbage time.
And also, I look at a guy's ceiling. Like, what's the best they can do? Jason, we'll get to your stuff in a second. Like, what's the highest the ceiling they've got? Okay. And Cooper Kupp had 110 yards against Detroit in that loss early in the season. That's awesome. And a TD. He's had 2 other 100-yard games. One of them with 2 TDs. That's a pretty freaking good game. But what is Brian Thomas's ceiling? And last week, I mean, he had 92. Well, no, the week before, I guess, before San Fran, before that slop fest, he had 92 and a TD. So I get it, because 2 of the last 3 weeks before the goose egg, well, really 3 out of 4, he'd had a TD, at least 1 touchdown. So, man, I don't know, actually. The more I'm looking at this is tough, man. Man, you got a tough, this is tough. Oh.
Maybe not. Maybe they just all go off.
Yeah,
actually, there is a scenario that happens because the Rams they need to desperately win this game. They need to put Geno Smith is hurt. I don't believe in the Cardinals. 49ers look dead. The Rams need to win this game to lock up that division. I think you're going to see the best out of Stafford.
Because I don't think Cooper Kupp, him putting up another goose egg, I don't think that's going to happen. As I do think he's going to have a good game.
Yeah, that's true, right?
I'm with you. I just think, like, at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp, I'm a huge Cooper Kupp fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with you there. But the last 3 weeks, he's had 2 duds and one great week. It's like, is this week going to be the week where he's amazing? And it's like, if I sit him and, like, he was one of my keepers, and it's like, really? But I'm not keeping him next year. I'm gonna go with one of my running backs and Jefferson of my 2 keepers. So, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
The
right?
Jets' pass D is 5th in the NFL, if that helps at all.
Are they?
They're 5th in the NFL in yards. And I can go, hold on. I can give you EPA too, because I don't just like. See, my problem with raw stats is they can be a little bit misleading. Because, like, if you're ahead, like the Ravens early in the season were always ahead, and yes, their pass defense, they had some injuries, but people aren't going to run on them when they're down. They're going to throw. So, of course, their run D looks even better than it actually is. But the Jets, in EPA, they're 20th, though. But in actual yardage, they're 5th. So they do have Sauce, but there's a bit of a drop-off with their second corner. So, like, Zach nailed it. Sauce is going to be lined up on Nakua almost exclusively. So that should open up the door for Kupp to eat. Stafford is a much better QB than Mac Jones or Drew Lock. Are they just decent enough to throw the ball up in the air and get it to those 2 studs?
I just love that I have this. Like, this is my
dilemma, dude.
Yeah, I wish I had this dilemma.
I got an interesting one, but I want to solve Rev's first. I would go. Okay, I'm gonna change my mind here. Even though I don't love Kupp's matchup, I would go Kupp, and I think I would go. I'd go BTJ. It sucks to lean on Mac Jones, but it's not much better to lean on Drew Lock. So I'd go BTJ and Kupp.
It's probably what I would do too. But I think either way, I don't think you're gonna.
Nah. You're gonna
I
be
think
set.
it's going to be pretty equal all the way around.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one more for you guys. I got my other team that was 10-4, but it has some injuries. Okay, so I got Joe Burrow, quarterback, against Cleveland. Set. Saquon in this league as well. Saquon of my two teams on left. Bucky Irving at running back. DK Metcalf at receiver. Not amazing, but I do have T. Higgins, so I've got the Burrow-Higgins connection. I got a tight end decision I'll ask you guys about in a second. Here's my problem. Kamara's out. It's a double flex full PPR. Here's my combination of guys. And if Kamara's out, there's not a big decision, but I've got Jaden Reed. I'm going to roll the dice because Kamara's looks like he's doubtful. Should I pull the trigger on Marvin Harrison Jr., or should I try to pick up a receiver? I've got Parker Washington for Jacksonville. The problem I have is if Kamara's not going to play, all of a sudden he's hurt. I'm kind of screwed on my second flex because Harrison has been a dud. Should I just pivot and look and see if there's a free agent
available?
Let me look. I'll tell you right now. Keon Coleman's available, who had a 60-yard catch. That is the best receiver projected, but Tim Patrick is available. But is he going to have another good game? There's not a lot out there. Cedric Tillman for Cleveland's available. The problem is there's just not a lot out there, so I'm kind of screwed. I could throw in a tight end. I have Hunter Henry, but he's been kind of down recently. I'm going to check Dubs. I don't think he's available.
The reason why I ask is I think it's shifted. I think it's shifted now. It used to be Reed is the safest play, but Watson and Dobbs are now emerging as the 1-2 punch in there. And then they ran the ball a lot with, I shouldn't say a lot, a little bit with Reed. He was more the trick play, jet sweep kind of feel. He's not really getting the targets anymore that I've seen, but let me just look at his targets just in case, so I don't want to mislead you.
I picked up the 49ers backup running back in case Garendo's out because I could start him, but I'm having to scramble here.
Is Miller available for the Saints?
Oh, you're right.
Because he's the backup, right? So I would just start him.
Yeah. No, that's smart.
I think he played pretty good last week when
Jordan Mason's there. Hold on, let me look. Let me see if Miller's there. That's a good call. The problem is my only other option is to start another tight end, and my tight ends are Cole Kmet, Hunter Henry, and Freiermuth, and I was going to start Freiermuth.
Yeah. I think Jaden Reed's better than those guys, to be honest with you. Yeah. But if you look at Reed, he had 3 carries for 27 yards. He only had 6 targets for 5 catches, 34 yards. So
it wasn't great.
Against Detroit, he had 1 target, no yards. So, but Miami, 6 targets, 3 catches, 24. Like he's averaging literally 23 yards, 26, 24, 34. Like it's Watson has emerged, and he's looking for Watson and Dobbs. That's what he's looking for.
No, I agree. And here's the problem is that I'm kind of screwed. Kendra Miller's out, unfortunately. So he's not available. Somebody got him. Man, that sucks. So the best options to pick up for a running back are Algier, who's in a complimentary role, and Amir Abdullah for the Raiders. Is he going to start? Audric Estime, but he already played, so I can't pick him up. Or Craig Reynolds for the Lions, but he's a backup. So kind of screwed. There's not a lot of good options. I'm kind of the Kamara injury kind of screwed me on my second flex. So
totally.
How many targets is Marvin Harrison getting?
Marvin Harrison is getting. Okay, so Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting. Dang it! This internet's just being slow on this computer. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Projected for 12.5. He's the 31st receiver in PPR. Like Rev said, he was down to almost 40. He got 6 targets last week, 2 catches for 32 yards. He just isn't catching the ball. He's starting to look like not a complete bust, but not what people expected. 8 targets the week before for 49. 12 the week before that against Minnesota. He had 16 a touch. but he had 6 the week before. The volume it was there against Minnesota. He's only had 2 games with 10 or more targets all season.
Yeah, let's hit or miss.
So he's just not. There's the volume isn't there. He's not getting open.
Yeah.
I hope Jason's right. I hope he goes off because I kind of have to lean on Reed. And this team was actually better than the other one, but the Kamara injury kind of screws me because I could have started Bucky Irving in one of my flex spots. Now I have to start him as my running back too.
Yeah.
I'm
just trying to think if Abdul is a good play for you.
Yeah, is he
might
starting?
Be. He might be.
The Raiders are playing. Yeah, they've got a pretty
Jacksonville,
matchup, right? That
Playing
might be the move.
It might be.
McCormick is on IR.
What about is Singletary available in your league?
Let me look, but this Abdullah thing might be right because he's going to start, isn't he?
Don't they have Madison?
Madison, or say that one more time.
Don't they have Madison?
They do have. Yeah, they do have Madison.
But
he had 3 attempts for 8 yards, but he had 7 catches for 7 yards, and he got a touchdown. So he got 16 points because of that. But
the 7 catches.
Yeah, the 7 catches, right? So
I'm looking at Singletary.
Singletary might be the sneaky play if he's available.
Singletary's not available. I'll tell you the running backs that are available really quick because I hate when I have to pick up a guy in the playoffs, but I've been thinking about it all week. So here's the best running backs projected wise. Abdullah is the highest one. Algier, estimate would have been a solid play at 11, but he's gone. And I just didn't want to roll the dice against the Chargers. DJ Dallas for the Cardinals, Craig Reynolds, Braylon Allen, and then you're looking at it dips. Ty Johnson, Jamal Williams against the Packers, but I can't pick him up and start him.
Oh.
He's not starting.
So Jason Toppy just said that confirmed that McCormick is on IR for the Raiders. I think you pick up Abdullah right now. Don't wait. Pick him up, put him on the bench, and then I would probably start him.
I think I'm gonna do it. I'm picking him up. I just got him. Boom.
They play Jacksonville, so I mean it's a favorable matchup as well.
I'm gonna think about starting him over Harrison. Now, unfortunately, I'm projected to lose because I've had to take some roll the dice moves, but it happens. You guys rock. Thank you. Last question. Would you start Pat Freiermuth at tight end against Baltimore? Tough matchup. Or would you start, I like him though, would you start Hunter Henry for New England against Buffalo? Or Cole Kmet for the Bears, I might just cut him. He's been bad recently, but for the Bears against the Lions.
I'm going Freiermuth.
That's what I was thinking. Cole Kmet's fallen off. He had he had 1 catch last week, none the week before, 26. It's been a minute since he's had even over 50 yards. It's been 3 games. Hunter Henry against Buffalo, he's the 11th tight end. He had 6 last week, 14 the week before, 9 and 12. It's not bad. Solid. It's a tight end's a thin position. And then Freiermuth is 12, so he's just behind him. But recently he's been rolling. He's had a TD in 3 straight games and 59 yards the week before that. So he's had at least 9.9 in a PPR for 4 straight weeks.
Yeah,
I was thinking Freiermuth.
I think I'm with you. I like Henry too. I just like that they're looking for Freiermuth in the end zone. So,
and Pickens is out. So,
I wouldn't have taken so much time on fantasy, but it's the playoffs and I want to win. So I wanted to pick y'all's brains. Zach said he was into it. And I know Rav's into it. So yeah. I've seen enough of your content, man.
Man, I am red. Holy! I feel like your shirt, Zach. No wonder I'm sick. Oh man.
Well, I had a lot more I wanted to talk, but all right, we'll just do the AFC in a whole. Who do you think's going to the Super Bowl? Do you guys think the Chiefs are gonna three-peat this sucker? Or do you guys think the Bills, the Ravens, the Steelers? I don't take the Texans seriously. I'm sorry. I just don't. Not the Texans. Another team. Is somebody the Chargers maybe? The Broncos? Who do you guys see as the true contenders? If you want to just give a long answer, we'll just cover the AFC in one big answer here. And then I got a last quick Packers question for you guys. Ray, you want to start this one?
Yeah, I'll just go. I'm picking the Bills, and my
Yep.
dark horse is the Chargers because I don't know what's going on there, but Herbert has turned it around. That team, that defense is a lot better. I like them a lot. So, but I'm going Bills. Final answer.
Ooh,
As much as I hate to say it, I'm going Chiefs. Is until there's just not when they get in there. Now they're getting Hollywood Brown back. So I just think for some reason they find a way to win. And when they get into the playoffs, I mean, you got to beat them. And if they have home field advantage, it's even harder. So
there's a big part of me that wants to say Ravens, but their pass defense and their game situational and their coaching always falls flat. I just don't buy the Steelers unless Pickens is healthy. The Bills' defense scares me, but I just think Allen's on another level. And I just think there's something wrong with the Chiefs this year. So I'm going to go Bills with Rev. But dark horse, I like the Chargers. I wish they had a little more punch on offense. The Broncos, it's hard to do with a rookie QB, but I like them too. So, well, we got another fantasy one really quick. All right, pick one running back, one receiver, one flex, half PPR. Ford, Madison, Miller, Patrick Taylor, Tracy, Thielen, Downs, Jennings, McMillan.
Jesus.
I'll do Ford, Jennings, and McMillan.
How has Thielen been? Has he been good? I wouldn't go Downs.
Solid. He's solid.
I think I agree with you. I'm gonna go same thing. I like that. What do you think, Zach? You agree?
I'll go Ford. What was it? One running back, one wide receiver, one flex.
One flex.
I'll go Ford, Thielen,
okay.
McMillan.
Two receivers there. Okay, and it's a half PPR, so I can see that. Okay, here's my last non-Packer question, really fast, because I know Revs. I had the flu before, so I don't want to. We've already been on for a while. Here's my fast question: is there any other teams you guys can see in the NFC challenging outside of the teams we listed? So you got the Lions, Packers, Vikings, Eagles. Is there any other teams? The Bucks, the Rams? I'm sorry. I'm not listing the Seahawks. I don't see it. Not with Geno hurt. Is there another team, Atlanta, with Penix?
Like Commanders could be there, but I think it's the Bucks. I think the answer is the Bucks. They beat Detroit this year already. I know that they're a little banged up, but they always seem to play well, and I don't think people give Baker Mayfield enough credit.
I think I'm with you. Even though the Bucks defense isn't great, the Rams isn't either, but the Bucks offense has been lethal this year when they've been on. So I agree with you. Zach, what do you think?
I'm going Bucks or Rams.
Either one, okay.
I think both of them are sleepers.
And I feel bad I didn't hit Jason's comments earlier. He's been helping us out a bunch. He's playing for a spot in 2 fantasy leagues to try to get to his 4. He's doing great. 13-2 in one of his leagues.
Jesus. Don't ask him what his record is in my league, okay?
Oh, you guys in a league?
Oh, boy.
You're in a league together. What's his record?
It's nasty. He's dead last. You didn't mention that one, Jason.
All right, I got one last Packer question just to end on one, and then we'll wrap. Now, hey, this was fun, man. I like doing fantasy talks. I had a blast. Rev, thank you for coming on sick, man. I appreciate it.
No
and Zach, this was awesome, dude. Okay, here's my last Packer question. What do you think actually happens to them this playoff? Where do you think they go?
Who?
Do they flame out in the wild card? Because we're like 8%? We're going to the playoffs. Do they flame out in the wild card and lose? Do they get to the divisional and get like close like they did last year? Do they make the conference championship, or do they surprise, get to a Super Bowl, or do they win? What do you think actually happens?
Are you talking about the Packers?
Yeah, what's the most likely scenario?
Remember when he said we're not going to talk about the Packers much, Zach? Remember that moment?
I always do this when I get a Packer
I
guy
think
on.
we're
I'm
at
like, we're not gonna talk
75%
Packers.
Packers content right now. You should just have said Packers content. Plus fantasy
should've.
football. I'm just bugging you.
No, yeah.
Okay, we're winning week 1. We're going
Uh-huh.
in to someone's barn and we're gonna smoke them.
Okay.
It all depends on who we play week 2.
Yeah, what
Now,
are the matchups right now?
I think that we got a chance. Like, it depends who wins the division. If it,
Well, look, it's the Lions and Vikings play. I think it's whoever wins that game because we pretty much can't win it unless we'd have to get super lucky.
okay, I'm gonna predict that the Vikings win the division. Okay.
Okay.
So then that means we play the Vikings. We probably play the Vikings or the Eagles, right? Next. So that means we play the Eagles. We only lost by 2, and if we had a kicker, we would have won. No, we lost by 3, right?
So yeah, we're the 6th seed. We currently play the Bucks or the Rams, whoever ends up being the 3
We're
of those.
smoking the Rams. It's not going to be close.
Bucks scare me a little, but I think
Bucks
we can
scare
take
me
them
a little
too.
bit.
So then we'd be the low seed unless Washington upsets Philly, which isn't going to happen. So we'd be the low seed. So we would play Detroit or Philly or Minnesota, whoever's the 1, right? Isn't that how that works? We play the
I'm going to go to the
seed.
bathroom real quick.
Okay.
Uh,
So Rev, I think we would play the number 1 seed the second round. So we're going to be going to Detroit, Philly, or Minnesota, whoever gets the 1 seed. The question I have for you, I haven't looked into this. I don't know if you've checked this out when you've done your content. Here's my question. Currently, Detroit is the tiebreaker over Philly. If they win out, they're the 1. Here's my question. If Minnesota wins out, aren't they the 1? Do they have the tiebreaker over Philly as well?
I don't think so, because I don't think they played each other, did they?
It's so they go to like common opponents. So I don't know who gets the 1 then. Because if it's Minnesota, gotta be honest, man. As much as I like them and Sam Darnold, I think we can take them. I know they were up on us last
I
time.
think I think I want to go back at I want to go to Detroit and win because that would be so epic. And if they're still hurt, I think we win that game. But if they're a little bit they get healthy again, I mean, it's going to be close. I don't know. I'm having a hard time if we're going to win the second week. But I think we got a shot, and that's all I want. So, but Minnesota is tough. Philly's up. I think we have a shot against all of them. I'll just say we'll win week 1, we'll lose week 2, and just play it safe.
Okay. I like it. And also, I don't get to do this on my Tuesday show, and I've had you on, so you knew I was going to talk Packers.
Of course.
Zach, what do you think's most likely? And
I think
what do you think?
They'll win their first game. I think they'll keep it close second, but they won't pull it off.
So pretty much what they did last year, which is really interesting because then I think we're going to go in the offseason, and I'm hoping we maybe get a little aggressive in the receiver market. Rev, that's actually the curve I was going to throw you. As much as I like the receiving
what's that
core,
dude that's like unbelievable? He's going to go top 10. That's the guy I want.
I want to upgrade. As much as I like Jaden Reed and Dubs and Watson and the potential all those dudes are showing, can you imagine this offense with a top flight, talented receiver? Like, what we thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be.
We're not getting a wide receiver, Isaac. You're dreaming, brother. We're not.
I know. We never do this. I agree.
You know it. We never draft one in the first round, so then we don't want any of the rest. You want a defensive guy. There.
I agree.
You want to keep getting O linemen, but if we can get a corner, that's the guy we need.
I agree. That's what we should have done last year. I agree.
Anyway,
all right, guys.
I got to run, man.
No, I agree. Hey, tell people where to find your stuff, and then we'll boogie. Same with Zach.
Yeah, so you can find me RevTrev NFL everywhere. Check out my content on YouTube as well because my videos are awesome. But everyone's videos are awesome. So, but my stuff lately is just wild. It's worth the comments. Reading the comments alone in the chat, they're hilarious. Especially the Lions aren't going to win the Super Bowl one. That one's good. But yeah, RevTrev NFL, TikTok. Instagram, not Instagram, Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, and I feel like I'm missing something else too.
Instagram's kind of fun. That's where I met him. It might. I know if you're everywhere else, you might like Instagram.
If you
Kinda
hate
fun.
the Bears, go on my TikTok and watch my TikToks. You're gonna love them.
Zach, I've been enjoying your comments before, and you were awesome tonight, man. I'd love to have you back on too. And Rev, you know you're always welcome. Thank you for hanging out for an hour and a half sick. Zach, tell everybody where to find you, when to look for your show, and floor is yours, dude.
At Sundays are for the league. We have been kind of down this year because of I've been a teacher for like 3 to 4 year olds, so the content hasn't been up there. I've been worn out. It's my first year, and then my co-host has a kid that's like 4 years old, so we've been busy. So trying to get the shows up this week or this year has been tough. But we're on YouTube, Instagram, pretty much anywhere you can stream. But yeah, it's our content this year. Last year it was good. This year we are slacking. I still got to get like 3 videos up, but yeah, give us a follow.
Cool, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Both of you guys. And I don't have Cheesy Bear, my other show, next week. So I'm going to do an audio thing. I haven't decided if it's going to be Sunday or Monday night, but I'll let y'all know very, very quick on Twitter. And then I'm going to take a break from video for a minute. I might come back next Friday, but otherwise you guys will see me in 2025. I think I'm going to take a little break for the holidays and just do some short videos. You can still find everything on YouTube,
Awesome.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Maybe do a show next week if we just dominate New Orleans. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next year. Rev, thank you for hanging out, man. I hope you feel better. Zach, it was really cool meeting you. Everybody else, please go give them both follows. And I'll see you guys soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Nice meeting you, Zach.
Nice meeting you too, bro.